Hey, what's up, guys? Kyle Got back with another video, and today I'm going to do my Naruto review, episode 78, review English dub. So here it goes. Episode starts out with Naruto facing Gaara there. Naruto was actually was like thinking about what he's actually going to try to do and stuff for it. And he's like, when he actually was seeing Sakura getting crushed and stuff, and then Gaara was saying, "What's the matter? You're gonna save the girl and shit like that." That's what he was saying and shit. And out of nowhere, Naruto attacks there. He uses his shadow clones there and shit like that to. Technically, Naruto uses his shadow clones there and shit to attack Gaara. Garo is pushing Naruto out of the way and shit like that. Technically, he's been pushing Naruto out of the way and shit like that with it. So Naruto comes behind Gar there and hits him with the kunai there, but mostly Naruto before he hit Gar with the kunai, he actually put a paper bomb underneath the kunai and shit like that. So he tried to do the 1,000 years of death there, and he sticks it. He hits him right in the ass with the kunai and shit. Gaara noticed that he fleeing Naruto off of him. When he fleeing Naruto off, Naruto is like saying, "Boom." He actually said "boom" there, and then the next minute the paper bomb goes off right behind fucking Gaara there. Actually did some freaking damage there and shit like that to Gaara. Mostly did more damage there to Gaara and shit like that. when he got knocked there, Sasuke was saying something to Naruto, telling get out of here and take Sakura there and get out of here and stuff like that. That's what Sasuke was saying to Naruto, and he said, "I can finish this fight" and stuff like that. He said something about he lost. He's like I lost more people there and shit like that from it. That's what Sasuke was saying, and he was saying something about he was telling Naruto to get out of there and shit like that. He's like, "I can handle him and shit," and then Naruto, he's like. He is part of he's like me and shit like that. That's what Naruto was saying. He's like kind of like me and shit. That's what Naruto was saying. So Naruto builds up a lot of chakra there. He builds up a lot of freaking chakra there. And then Sasuke was like, "What the fuck? How he's getting so much chakra and shit like that?" So he Naruto uses his multi shadow clone jutsu. We actually get to see Naruto use his multi shadow clone jutsu for the first time there. Naruto attacks Gaara there with the Uzumaki Mirage there with a lot of with a lot of his clones there. So he was knocking them around. Everybody was totally shocked. They're like, how the fuck he actually produced so much clones there and shit like that. So he Naruto attacked Gaara there, knocking him there into a loop. When he used his Uzumaki Mirage there, he Naruto slams Gaara to the ground. And he was actually saying something about they said something about like he smashed Gaara to the ground and shit like that. And then Gaara got pissed off there and actually became the One Tails there. Technically Naruto, or not Naruto, but Gaara became the One Tails, and he's like he's like, "I'm surprised you got this out of me" and shit like that. So Gaara there freaking was trying to trap Naruto there under like a sand prison. Naruto was summoning there. He was building up some chakra there. He technically like lost half the chakra, but he has like so he summoned the Chief Toad there. Naruto summoned the Chief Toad and shit like that. And then the Chief Toad was like he's like, what do you want and shit like that. He was saying that stuff to Naruto and crap. And then he's like, you can help me here and you can help me fucking fight this guy and shit. And then he looked at it. He was like, ooh, he was like, Shikaku there. He's like the sand spirit Shikaku and shit. And he was saying something about he's like he might be a real tough thing to fight and shit. And then freaking and then he's like, I don't work. He said, yeah, he didn't want to fucking do it at first. He's like, told him to, he's like, buzz off and shit. Like, he told him to go fuck off and shit. And he's like, wait, we have to do this stuff and stuff like that until Kamachichi fucking jumps on Naruto's head. And then he was like saying, he's like, let the kid have some break or something like that. And he's like, what are you doing here and shit. The Chief Choda's like, what are you doing here and shit like that. And then he's just kind of like, Kamachichi just pull a fucking lie there. And he's like, oh, that big wump over there just was picking on me and shit like that. And then he's like, and actually fucking piss off the Chief Toad there. He actually got pissed off there. So he had, he's like, okay, I can help you this time and shit. And then uh, the Chief Toad was actually blowing some blows with the Kamachichi there, or not Kamachichi, the Chipaku there. He was technically blowing some blows and shit. And then, or technically it was Gara, technically, when he cuts the Chikaku's arm off there, when the Chief Toad cuts off his arm off there, and then he's like, impressive, you cut, he's like, Gara was like saying, impressive, you cut my arm off and shit like that. So the Chief Toad was actually explaining to Naruto, saying he has Insomniac there. So mostly he has Insomniac. Garax, he has Insomniac there, and mostly if the user falls asleep, Shikaku can like take over and just run around and shit. That's what he was saying and stuff about it. And he was explaining about that. Gara was ready to fall asleep there. he Technically, Gara was ready to fucking fall asleep. He uses a sleep jutsu there to make him fall fucking asleep there. And then then Shikaku not Shikaku yeah, Shikaku came out of his thing there. He's like he's like, yeah, I'm back, baby, and shit like that. And that's what he was fucking saying and shit. And then technically for a while there, the Chief Toad and Shikaku were blowing blows there. And then he was telling Naruto, he's like build up some veins and claws there and shit like that. He was telling Naruto to build some veins and claws there and shit. He's like, how in the fuck I can make veins and claws and shit. Use a transfer jutsu to turn me into like a fangs and claws type of dude there. So he was like thinking of fangs and claws and stuff like that. And then the red chakra kicked in from Naruto there, and he transformed the Chief Toad into the Nine Tails. Technically, he actually changed the Chief Toad in the Nine Tails there, and it kind of like, and Sasuke was like, he's like, that is that and shit. And then the Nine Tails was jumping on Chikaku. So yep, that's pretty much it. Comment, rate, and respond to the Spring Brothers. We like more videos. Please subscribe to the bell and catch on super uploads. Comment, and respond to the Spring Brothers. We like her out. Out of your peace.